What if I told you that money is more mysterious and fascinating than you ever imagined? Have you ever wondered why certain bills are considered unlucky? Or how a single IPO in the 90s could turn a modest investment into a fortune today? Stick around as we dive into the top 10 coolest finance facts that will blow your mind, and maybe even make you rethink how you view money. Let's start with a question. What's the material of the bills in your wallet? If you thought paper, you're not alone, but you're also not entirely correct. Most modern banknotes are actually made of cotton or a cotton linen blend. The United States, for example, uses 75% cotton and 25% linen to produce its currency, giving it that unique, almost fabric-like feel. This special blend ensures the bills are durable, but even so, the average $1 bill only stays in circulation for about 6.6 years before it's worn out. Think about that. Every dollar you've touched has a life cycle, a beginning, and an end. What stories could those bills tell if they could speak? And speaking of stories, let's talk about the infamous $2 bill. First printed in 1862, this bill has a controversial reputation. Did you know that for most of its history, the $2 bill was considered unlucky? Superstitions ran so deep that people would sometimes tear a corner off the bill to remove the bad luck. This strange tradition, of course, made the bills even rarer, as damaged ones were pulled from circulation. But there's more. The back of the $2 bill features John Trumbull's painting of the Declaration of Independence. However, if you compare it to the original artwork, you'll notice something odd. 5 people from the painting are missing from the bill. Why? That's a mystery we may never fully solve. Now let's step into the world of investing, a world that sometimes feels like it's full of strange coincidences and near misses. Here's a fun fact. Infosys, one of India's most successful tech companies, almost didn't make it. In June 1993, Infosys launched its IPO, pricing shares at 95 rupees each. But the response was lackluster and the IPO was undersubscribed. It was Morgan Stanley that stepped in, buying up 13% of the company's equity to save the offering. Fast forward to today, and that single IPO has created immense wealth. If you'd invested just 9,500 rupees in Infosys back then, that stake would be worth over 2 crore rupees today, plus an additional 20 lakh in dividends. It's a staggering example of how a single moment can change financial history. Let's pause for a moment. Have you ever thought about taxes as a game of survival? Believe it or not, in the 1970s, income tax in India was a nightmare for the wealthy. In 1970-71, the country had 11 tax slabs, with the highest rate at 85%. Add a 15% surcharge, and the top earners were effectively paying a jaw-dropping 97.75% of their income in taxes. It's no wonder tax evasion became a rampant issue during that era. Over time, the system was simplified to the 3 slabs we know today, with the highest tax rate now capped at 30%. But imagine living in a world where you could keep less than 3% of your income. Now let's shift our focus to the extraordinary world of currency design and security. Did you know that your money is packed with hidden features? For instance, US bills contain microprinting, ultraviolet strips, and color-shifting ink to deter counterfeiters. But here's something truly fascinating. The $100 bill has a blue security ribbon embedded with tiny 3D images of bells and hundreds that appear to move as you tilt the note. These features are so advanced that counterfeiters say it's one of the hardest bills to replicate. But it's not just modern bills that hold secrets. In 1934, the US government printed $100,000 bills. Yes, you heard that right. These were gold certificates featuring Woodrow Wilson's portrait. However, they were never intended for public use and were primarily used for transactions between Federal Reserve banks. Imagine holding a single bill worth $100,000. It's enough to make anyone feel like a financial kingpin. But here's the catch. These notes were discontinued in 1969 and are now illegal to own. If you ever find one, it belongs in a museum, not your wallet. And speaking of museums, let's talk about one of the rarest coins ever minted, the 1933 double eagle. Originally valued at $20, this coin was never officially released to the public due to the gold recall during the Great Depression. Most of the coins were melted down, but a few managed to escape. In 2002, one of these coins was sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $759 million. Owning one is like holding a piece of American history in your hands, albeit a very expensive piece. But let's not forget about the lighter side of finance. Did you know there's a tiny town in Oregon that once printed its own currency on wood? During the Great Depression, Tenino, Oregon, faced a severe cash shortage. To keep their local economy afloat, they printed $10,000 worth of wooden money using leftover cedar slabs from a lumber mill. Astonishingly, this quirky solution worked, and today those wooden bills are collector's items. Here's another mind-bending question. What's the most unusual material ever used for money? The answer might surprise you. On the Pacific island of Yap, locals used giant limestone discs called ray stones as currency. These stones could be as large as 12 feet in diameter and were often too heavy to move. Instead of physically transferring them, ownership was marked through stories and agreements. Imagine buying a house by simply pointing to a massive stone in your backyard and saying, "That's mine." Now let's dive into a finance fact that blends economics and psychology. Have you ever noticed how prices often end in 99? This isn't random. It's a psychological pricing strategy called charm pricing. Retailers discovered that consumers perceive prices like 19.99 as significantly cheaper than $20, even though the difference is just a penny. This tactic dates back to the late 19th century and is still widely used today. So next time you shop, take a closer look at those price tags. They might be playing tricks on your mind. And here's a final fact to leave you speechless. Did you know that there's more monopoly money printed every year than actual U.S. currency? That's right. Hasbro, the makers of the famous board game, produces around 30 billion worth of monopoly money annually. In comparison, the U.S. Bureau of Engraving and Printing produces roughly $974 million in real cash daily, which translates to just over $350 billion annually. So technically, there's a world where monopoly money outpaces real currency. As we wrap up, let's reflect on what we've uncovered. From the superstition surrounding the $2 to the ingenious strategies of tiny towns and the almost mystical qualities of rare coins and massive stones. These stories remind us that money is much more than numbers on a page or coins in your pocket. It's a reflection of history, culture, and human ingenuity. Let's jump into a strange yet powerful story about perception and marketing, charm pricing. This practice of ending prices with 99 isn't just a gimmick. It's a deeply ingrained psychological trick that dates back to the 1800s. Retailers noticed that customers perceive 1.999 as significantly cheaper than $2, despite the mere 1 cent difference. The phenomenon exploits our tendency to focus on the leftmost digits in a price. Over time, this strategy became so effective that it now dominates global pricing models. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a price rounded neatly to a whole number? Now, for something more tactile, it's an incredible testament to how money doesn't have to be portable. It just has to be trusted. Speaking of trust, let's talk about one of the rarest coins in history, the 1933 Double Eagle. This $20 gold coin was minted during the Great Depression, but was never officially circulated due to President Franklin D. Roosevelt's executive order halting private gold ownership in 1933. Almost all the coins were melted down, but a few escaped destruction. Over the years, these surviving coins became legends in numismatics. In 2002, one was sold at auction for $7.59 million, making it one of the most expensive coins ever. Imagine holding a piece of history that valuable in your hands. It's more than just a coin. It's a symbol of economic upheaval and resilience. And while we're on the topic of rare currency, let's talk about something you might have never expected: wooden money. During the Great Depression, a cash shortage hit Tenino, Oregon, so hard that the town had to improvise. Using slabs of cedar wood from a local mill, they printed $10,000 worth of wooden currency to keep their economy alive. Surprisingly, these bills were accepted by local merchants and kept the town running during a time of crisis. Today, those wooden bills are worth far more than their face value as collector's items. Who would have thought that desperation could create something so enduringly valuable? But money isn't just a physical object. It's an experience shaped by perception. Take the world of board games. Did you know that Monopoly money is printed in far greater quantities than actual U.S. currency? Hasbro churns out approximately $30 billion worth of Monopoly money every year, while the U.S. Bureau of Engraving and Printing produces about $350 billion annually. That means for every $12 in real currency, there's about $1 in Monopoly money out there. It's a humorous reminder of how we interact with money, even in playful contexts. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell for more intriguing stories about money, investing, and the financial world. After all, who knows what other surprises are hiding in plain sight? Until next time, keep exploring the mysteries of money and the secrets it holds.